I have sound as well. Good. I'm so proud to be able to stand here today as, I would say, an ambassador of this excellent alliance. And that's also the objective of this presentation, to give you some dig into what we are targeting to supply of services to you guys as a strong alliance which we have established. So the agenda will definitely be to focus on what the alliance is to supply. That's on both related to what are we planning to deliver for conventional slot recovery and P&A work that the industry is doing today. But just as important, and even probably a higher focus, is what do we want to achieve when it comes to moving all these required work offline and offline opportunities for slot recovery and P&A. And finally, also with the concept that we're targeting to provide, what will that mean as us being a technology enabler and all the opportunities that that provides. As you will see, and also in the expeditions that we have outside, there are very exciting technologies in the play from many of our alliance partners. Really what is needed for bringing us in a new direction. As was said in the introduction of myself, I'm really eager, keen to help the industry with this alliance to move in a different direction to where we are today when it comes to executing P&A and slot recovery operations. And I will touch a little bit into where are we looking when we look a bit ahead, a bit further. What is Odfjell Technology actually doing when it comes to work related to new energy markets, and how this actually can be an advantage when we are allied with these companies as well in moving into other markets. But first, we know we are a conservative industry, people. It's a challenge to have new things coming up. Now, summertime is coming, and whether you're planning a nice vacation at the beach under the palm tree, or enjoying our beautiful country, Norway, exploring that, we need to prepare for the summer. So I want everyone to rise. I see here on the H that most of you probably know the dance Macarena. So come on, everyone. Let's not be conservative. That's what we need to move in a new direction. We need to be out of the comfort zone. I'm pretty sure that everyone knows this dance, but everyone, just relax. We're not gonna dance at all. I just wanted to test you to see that, and I'm pretty surprised. You actually raised up from the chair, so you were ready. So that's a good sign. That's what we need. We need to move out of the comfort zone. But relax, you can sit down. I will for sure not do any dancing on this stage. Okay, so why did we form an alliance? The typical picture today when it comes to drilling services, and which is common from the operator side, is when it comes to the work we do today, drilling, completion, P&A, it's very common that the drilling and the completion services is what is having focus. As is shown here on the picture, a big challenge we have in the industry is actually that P&A related work typically falls in between shares, as shown. So what we definitely want to do with this alliance, knowing the current status of what's coming on the slot recovery and P&A, both here on the Norwegian continental shelf, but of course a lot of places in the world, we need definitely to bring the P&A and slot recovery focus on top of the table, at least on the side to the focus you now have on drilling and completion. P&A focus needs to increase, that's for sure. As also said here, it's very common now today that you have all these integrated contracts when it comes to, again, drilling and completion services. also on that aspect, on the P&A side, it falls a little bit in between. So obviously this is definitely something we're targeting with this alliance, as I will come into later. We want to bring a complete package on being able to solve this P&A and slot recovery challenges that we have ahead of us by combining or aligning all these excellent technologies and excellent companies together. We will prepare ourselves to take this challenge, and as said, we definitely want to bring P&A and slot recovery in the focus where it should be. So what are we targeting to deliver? Obviously today, what we definitely can do is to deliver conventional or the services required for doing, as I said, the conventional work. But also, just as important as said, the opportunities there are on moving the P&A and slot recovery work offline, and the excellent gain that we can have on increased production, and of course cost saving, improved HSE for sure, by doing such a thing. But also on the final, to the right here, the opportunities that we have as a being and technology enabler. I'll get into all of this in the coming slides. But as I've said now quite a few times, our overall objective is definitely to be a good contributor to introduce a step change for the industry in moving in a new direction for the slot recovery and P&A. And as we have done, we have allied together, and we want to do this change together. Just bringing up the goals that we have established for our alliance on what we are to provide and what quality we want to have. Of course, when it comes to slot recovery and P&A operations, the most important we do is to ensure that the barriers we establish in the end has the robust quality that it is required to have. As part of ensuring that robust barrier, it's just as important to have a good plan on how you actually verify that barrier being so robust. That's actually a typical challenge that we have when it comes to the P&A segment, that there's so many good ideas on how or what type of barriers we should develop, a lot of excellent work being done, but it's always coming back to, okay, how are you actually verifying that excellent barrier you say you have? So it's just as important to have, as said here, a reliable barrier integrity verification as part of the plan. As mentioned, continuously seeking offline opportunities, that's a key. I'll get into that in a couple of slides. Changing the industry mindset. We are definitely a conservative industry. It looks promising. You were ready for dancing, so I'm positive. But then we have a challenge there, but we will do it. Of course, it's not. When it comes to the companies that we have allied together, some of them provide definitely technologies which, of course, are technologies of tomorrow. But that's what we need to move into this new direction. And in the end, by having robust barriers, reliable integrity verifications, introducing all these technologies of tomorrow, we should definitely be able also to challenge the current industry regulations and requirements that we're following today, which is also needed for a change. So then, starting off with the technologies that we as an alliance can supply today. So that's basically doing the work we do every day on each platform, floater or wherever. The conventional scope being the typical wireline pre-P&A, tubing and casing retrieval, and well cleaning and preparations for doing P&A operations, section milling, verifying the integrity of what you have in your biannulus, all this stuff that we do every day. The way we have allied, we have the expertise and first of all also the equipment that we need to provide these services together. So by all means, of course, that's also the intention of this alliance, to be able to supply what we need today, as shown here. So the next aspect is when it comes to moving rig work offline. What can we do? So this is one of the concepts that we are specifically looking into, involving developing what we have referred to as a jacking unit. In short, this is, as said, an ultra-slim standalone jacking unit, which will allow for doing offline tubing and casing retrieval. It has integrated well control setup, just as you would have today on any rig. So you're not compromising on that aspect, for sure. As for now, the jack that is intended to be used has as design of 200 tons pulling force capacity, but that's definitely for adjustments if needed. What is just as important is the plan we have for this unit and how we will do the pipe handling. Of course, the intention is to have a fully automated process, hands-off process, to have the HSE quality of the pipe handling as we want it to be in Odfjell. We have a double securing winch integrated as part of the unit, and also, of course, as part of the scope that we're intending to do, there is also optimized for doing wireline operations with this unit in place. So just to bring you a little bit into what we're planning to do with this unit in place. Here is illustrated what we refer to as the tubing jacking concept. Basically what we are doing then is, for example, on a platform, you have ongoing operations on one shaft with the drilling tower. On the opposite shaft, we have placed the unit that you just saw on the previous slide. So what we're doing is basically to use the jack and the pipe handling setup that you see here, with all well control equipment in place as you need, to establish a deep tubing gap. So we're basically not jacking out the entire tubing, we're jacking out a certain length, let's say 250, 300 meters, which gives us access to the production casing in order to verify the integrity, a reliable verification of what you actually have outside your production casing. And furthermore, being able to establish the actual barrier you need down in that gap, here illustrated as form of a conventional cement barrier plug. Of course, after that, followed by a reliable verification of the integrity of that cement plug inside that gap. So the key here is, of course, that this operation in the ideal world is done as an offline operation, meaning that, for example, on the platform, you could have the normal drilling and completion and P&A operations ongoing, for that sake, in that drilling tower on one side of the platform, and you can use this ultra slim unit for performing also slot recovery P&A scope on the opposite side of the platform. Just to bring in another possibility is, for example, for P&A campaigns, what we are looking at is, for example, to have on platforms where you have a P&A campaign, you can have this unit running on one side. You can have the excellent rig, which you have outside here, on the opposite side of the platform, doing combined work to do the entire P&A scope for that specific platform. If you want more details and discuss this concept or other things with this unit, please visit myself on the stand later today, and I can provide you a lot of details on how this is done. But now you see at least a little glance on what we're looking at. The overall is definitely to have this activity moved offline. Also, when it comes to moving rig work offline, of course, what we know, the amount of wells we have, the increase of amount of subsea wells is really, that's a really high number. Most of our wells, which we will P&A in the future, will probably be more on the subsea side. So obviously, we're also looking into that direction which we definitely should. So the intention here is definitely to bring some of the concepts and things that we intend to qualify for fixed installations down to subsea wells, using the experiences we gain from the fixed operations to be able to do similar activities also subsea. And also, as shown here, we are definitely looking into opportunities of actually potentially providing an optimized vessel for doing offline operations subsea. The technology enabler part. A key challenge today when it comes to introducing all these exciting technologies. Take the bismuth plug, we have Wellström included in our alliance. Take the different verification methods, different barrier materials that we want to qualify for the industry. A big challenge is that it's so difficult to get all these technologies tested and qualified in the field. There is so much good work going on onshore on testing, qualifying, and developing new technology, but it's a big challenge to actually get it moving out where it is needed. So with this specific unit that I just have presented to you, with the intention of establishing this deep gap down with access to the production casing that you see here, just think of all the technology possibilities that provide on actually doing field tests of new technologies offline at a much lower cost than where we are today. The big challenge today is that all these testing and qualification has to be done on rig time. And the operators are not that very keen on using rig time on that kind of thing. So as part of also being able to do slot recovery and P&A work scope, you can actually, with the same setup, have a lot of opportunities on qualifying new technologies in the field. That's also why we have some of our alliance partners involved, providing all these new exciting technologies as part of our service. Finally, I also want to mention, Elizabeth was a little bit into it. Odfjell is definitely not only a rig company, especially not Odfjell Technology. So we are, by all means, as illustrated here as an example, we are looking into many different areas of energy opportunities. Looking at geothermal, offshore wind, hydrogen, mentioned here, but also different technologies and opportunities is being investigated. Of course, this alliance that we have established has primarily been focusing on this P&A and slot recovery work and opportunities on that side. But of course, why not use the same partners also when digging into all these new exciting markets that we are looking into? So that's also part of the agenda, for sure, to be able, not for Odfjell Technology to go greener, but also together with our alliance partners, work together on investigating new energy opportunities. I think that ends my presentation. Again, as said, you're very much welcome to visit myself or my other colleagues in Odfjell at the Odfjell stand if you want to know more about our concepts and what we're targeting to supply. We definitely hope that we can achieve what we're aiming for, to introduce a change in the industry here on how we do our slot recovery and P&A operations today. That is definitely needed, and we want you to join on that. Thank you.